In a world where fantasy football has taken over the land, two unlikely heroes will arise. They call themselves the Fantasy Football Apocalypse. But who are they?
Trent and Jeremy. Trent and Jeremy. Trent and Jeremy. Trent and Jeremy. Trent and Jeremy, yes, they are the boys. When it comes to fantasy advice, they got the noise. One's a little loud, and he's far from cautious. His voice alone will turn your stomach nauseous. MC number 2, well, it's just not that simple. Some would even question that he's borderline mental. These two combined will try to be funny, but their main goal is to try to make you money.
Oh, yes! Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Apocalypse. It is week 1. I am your host, Trent Scott, joined by Jeremy Scott.
Hello, everybody. We're so excited to be here, and do you know why? Because we actually get to talk about FanDuel, the thing we created the podcast for. So today we're actually going to start our week 1 picks. We have some amazing picks for you. Hopefully we can help you win some money this weekend.
Yeah, that is the game plan all year long. We're going to be trying to help everybody win as much money as possible, ourselves included, I might add.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we take donations. We're thinking about implementing a 10% tithe for all our subscribers who listen to the show and make money. So yeah. keep that in the back burner.
Yeah, if you make money, just kick some back where it came from, you know? The guys would help get you there. So before we jump into it, how about we describe what we're going to do for our new listeners out there, as we have absolutely seen our numbers grow this year from last year. So we got a lot of new people out there listening. So we want to kind of describe what we're going to do, Jeremy.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, what we do is we like to take, we're not going to recommend Aaron Rodgers. We're not going to recommend, starting Demaryius Thomas. We're reaching for guys that you can plug in for cheap in FanDuel, and also plug into, a close call. You have an injury, you have a bye. We recommend this player because we think they have a lot of probability to succeed. So that's kind of the goal here. Trent, what is your 2 cents on it?
Yeah, basically, it's like Jeremy said. The show is called the Fantasy Football Apocalypse for a reason. We're here to help you when you're in a tight spot. You know, if you've got an injury, if you've got a horrible matchup, we're going to find you the guys that a lot of people might overlook, and we're going to show you them. So basically, if somebody's ranked in the top 10 at their position, you're not going to hear their name come out of our mouths, because that's just not what we're interested in.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started. We pick 1 QB, we pick 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end for our recommendations, because kickers and defenses we don't really care about. It's kind of a crapshoot anyway. So let's go ahead and get this started. Trent, who is your quarterback pick of the week?
So for me, my week 1 quarterback making his first career start, Marcus Mariota of the Tennessee Titans. They're going up against the other high-profile rookie quarterback in Jameis Winston, who, of course, I picked a couple weeks ago. I just think, in this particular case, Mariota's got the better matchup. I don't have a lot of respect for Tampa Bay's defense, and Mariota's looked really good in the preseason. 21 out of 30 with a touchdown. So, yeah, I'm going with Mariota, taking a bit of a gamble in his first start.
You know, the Mariota pick, when you first picked it, was kind of shocking. However, he has had a good preseason. We can't forget it is the preseason. But he has no run game to support him. Absolutely no run game. It's something I'll pick later. I think, somebody on that team will benefit from Mariota's performance. It's just, to me, it's a high risk, low reward. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, to be fair to you, like you said, it is just the preseason. This time last year, everyone was talking about how great of a preseason Blake Bortles was having. So I am definitely taking a risk here.
True. Well, my QB pick is, to me, it's a no-brainer. Everyone knows how big of an Eagles fan I am on here. But I'm going Sam Bradford against the Falcons. That is going to be a shootout. I would be very surprised if a total of 6 touchdowns aren't scored between the 2 teams in that game. But really think Bradford has a great premier game. He's going to dominate. He's got the weapons. I just think he comes out and he's going to have over 20 points is my guess.
Yeah, to kind of further reinforce what we were talking about in the Open, I mean, we put our money where our mouths is on a lot of these picks, and to enforce that, I just turned in my first FanDuel lineup of the season, and Sam Bradford is my Week 1 quarterback on that team. I love Bradford's potential here in Week 1. I mean, the Falcons are horrible on defense. So, like you said,
awful.
20 points is not out of the realm of possibility for Sam Bradford in Week 1.
Rumors have it that Julio Jones and Matt Ryan will be playing both sides of the ball this year. But you didn't hear that from me. All right, Trent, who's your top running back pick this year? I'm sorry, this week.
For this week, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
No, this year.
So my top running back pick for this week, a man by the name of Jonathan Stewart. He, of course, is the longtime running back for the Carolina Panthers. D'Angelo Williams is out of the way now. It is strictly Jonathan Stewart there to handle the load. They're going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who gave up the third most points to running backs last year. I think Jonathan Stewart easily goes over 100 yards in this game because the Panthers have no one else to give the ball to.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. The thing is, normally I'm going to be anti-Jonathan Stewart, not because I don't like the guy. I think he's got talent. He's finally having a chance to be the guy. But because their passing game is going to be so bad. However, Jacksonville is even worse than their passing game. So I think Jonathan Stewart has a big week. Like you said, I think he runs for triple digits this week.
All right, so Jeremy, who's going to be your first running back?
I'm going with DeMarco Murray. No, going with his brother, Latavius Murray. I've been very high on this guy, all season long with our podcast. I'm going to stick with him until he betrays my trust. I'm going with Latavius Murray because he is the bell cow. They're trying to develop his, to get some catches and whatnot. I think he has a big week. They're playing the Bengals, who are really not known for their defense. I just think Murray has a big game one, who's pretty sure shot to get around 15 points or more.
So the thing with Murray is I've been a bit reserved in my enthusiasm for him every time you've brought him up. But in this particular case, Week 1, I think it is a good matchup. So as down on Murray as I am compared to you, I mean, I do think he's going to have a solid season, but I just don't see him being a top 10 running back like you do. I think Week 1, he is a pretty safe play against a bad Bengals defense.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. So, Trey, now, why don't you go ahead and give us your second running back? We're all dying to hear it.
My second running back. I even made fun of you for mentioning his name a couple weeks ago. But the closer and closer we get to the season, the better and better he looks. And again, maybe I'm falling for the trap of the preseason. I guess we'll find out. I'm going with Doug Martin. The muscle hamster rides again. He's back, baby.
The muscle hamster. It's such a unique situation in Tampa Bay because they have three just average running backs. But Doug Martin has really separated himself this preseason. Apparently he's lost weight. I have not personally seen his physique, but he's lost weight. He's supposed to be running harder and better. And honestly, he's putting up the numbers. So, against the Titans, they're going to be a top 5 worst, or a bottom 5 defense in the league. Why not? I mean, he's going to be so cheap in FanDuel. He'd be especially if you wanted to go heavy quarterback, or just load up on skill players. I think you can get Doug Martin for cheap, who could get 10 to 20 points, but then again, it's Doug Martin. He could just straight up do what he does best and not perform.
That is definitely a risk. Who are you going with for your second pick?
Yeah, I don't think this is much as a reach as most people, but a lot of people tend to disagree with me. I'm going with Rashad Jennings. We gotta don't forget, before this guy got injured, which is almost inevitable, he will get injured. He was leading the league in rushing, I think, the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season last year.
Maybe in the non-DeMarco Murray category.
True. Well, no, wasn't he up on yards too?
No, DeMarco Murray had 8 straight 100-yard games to start the season.
Okay. Well, he was up there. Regardless, he's going to be good when he plays. He's going to get injured, but I definitely think he's a cheap option who has the potential to get 20-plus points. I'm not saying he'll do that. I'm just saying he's a cheap guy that you can get some production out of.
Look, as much as I'm into the Giants this week, and that will be revealed here shortly, I don't see Rashad Jennings as one of the Giants that I'm going to be in on this week. And the thing is, I'm still not clear exactly how that backfield rotation is going to work, because Andre Williams, who was a touchdown vulture last year, is still there, and they brought in Shane Vereen, who 2 years ago was a top 15 fantasy running back. He's not just going to sit on the sidelines all week. All three of those guys are going to play, so I'd be surprised if Rashad Jennings got more than, say, 15 touches, which I really think is going to limit his possibilities of having a big game.
Yeah, well, last year when he played Dallas, he had 27 touches, 8 receptions for 68 yards, which is almost just confirming my pick.
Yeah, but Shane Vereen wasn't on the team then.
Yeah, but Vereen sucks. We all know that. All right, moving on. Trent, who is your top wide receiver pick?
So my top wide receiver pick, I told you I was in on some Giants. Here's the one I'm in on. Ruben Randle. This is a guy that in the past has never really been a consistent week-to-week player, but he's had big games from time to time. And the fact is, Eli Manning in the Giants passing game always seems to just scorch the Cowboys defense who they're taking on the Sunday night game week 1. And Victor Cruz is out. Odell Beckham's probably going to have a big game, but Eli's going to throw the ball to just more than one person. I think Ruben Randle has a shot for, say, 80 yards and a touchdown.
It just baffles me that between all the weapons, which I guess Eli has a lot of weapons, Ruben Randle is the one you picked to shine.
Well, we can't pick Odell Beckham, so...
So Ruben Randle over Rashad Jennings. If you had a flex position, you would
absolutely.
Take,
I'm going Ruben Randle over Rashad Jennings.
Absolutely insane. I'm out on Ruben Randle because number one, I don't even think he's that good. Number two, I think he had single digits in half of his games last year in fantasy. To me, that's more risk, low reward. You know what I mean? But he does seem to get a decent amount of targets. However, when Odell came back, his numbers diminished substantially. There's Donnell there, who we all know what he does against Dallas. And then, again, between Rashad Jennings, Shane Vereen, Andre Williams, I mean, Ruben Randle, I'm sorry, I'm out on Ruben Randle. But I'd like to see you put your money where your mouth is and pick him in fantasy.
He is on my team, actually. The team I was just referring to is Sam Bradford. Ruben Randle is on that roster.
I respect that. I can absolutely respect that.
All right, so Jeremy, you're out on Ruben Randle. Who are you in on?
I'm very in on this guy. He's going to be very undervalued first week, so that's why I'm going with him. Devontae Adams, he has Aaron Rodgers throwing to him, and he's going to be relatively inexpensive. The reason I like him is because he's going to put up numbers. He's going to be one of those guys who you're just going to watch his FanDuel weekly salary budget, whatever you want to call that. It's going to go up as the season goes on, so take advantage of it early in this season. Yeah,
I have a feeling that Devontae Adams is going to be similar to what Odell Beckham and Mike Evans were for us last year, where we were able to pick him a couple of times early, but then by the end of the season, he was nowhere near the apocalypse radar. So
yeah, he'll be one of those, and I think my next pick will be one of those too. But go ahead and give us your pick, Trent.
For my second wide receiver?
Yes.
My second wide receiver pick, someone I know is near and dear to Jeremy's heart, Jarvis Landry. Now, he is, of course, the top wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins now that Mike Wallace is out of the way. They are going up against the Redskins, who, let's face it, things aren't going very well in Washington.
Not quite.
So, I think Jarvis Landry could have like 10 catches in this game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him get in the end zone either.
Jerry Rice, Michael Irvin, Jarvis Landry. What do those three names have in common, Trent?
They happen to play wide receiver.
Yeah, That's actually what I was thinking. No, I really like Jarvis Landry a lot this year. He's the number one in that offense. It's going to be a high-powered offense. We all can agree on that. Jarvis
Can
Landry,
we?
what was that?
I said, can we all agree on that?
Everyone can agree on that. He's going to be the number one option in that passing threat. Tannehill already trusts him. He's been zeroing in on him in the red zone this preseason. So there's a lot of signs pointing upward for Jarvis Landry. Really like him. He's going to be another one of those guys who really escalates his budget per week in FanDuel. Like the pick a lot.
All right, so Jeremy, who's going to be your second wide receiver? You already said you think this guy is going to be unpickable in a few weeks. So who is he?
Nelson Aguilar, the rookie out of Philadelphia. I don't know why I just forgot that, but the rookie out of Philadelphia. I really like the Bradford-Aguilar combination this week. A lot of strategy, what I like to do in FanDuel is, get a quarterback who's going to throw a touchdown to that receiver, because that's just double the points. And honestly, I don't know if I've had a team where that happened where I did not place that week. Also, side note, in FanDuel, I've kind of noticed if you get 118, give or take, points or more, you will place and you will make double your money at least. Very interesting thing to strategize, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, I think Nelson Aguilar, I mean, we've talked about it. I think he definitely has the potential to have a breakout season, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. I think those are both very real possibilities, and I don't see any reason why that all can't start this week. So I think Nelson Aguilar, much like Devontae Adams, is a pretty safe pick on your part.
Oh, that's all good input, Trent. So the last position we'll be picking is the tight end. So Trent, who's your tight end top pick of the week?
So I said I'm in on the Giants this week. I'm still in on the Giants. I'm going with Mr. Larry Donnell. He had a huge game against the Cowboys last year, 7 catches for 90 yards. That was really kind of when he first started breaking out last year, and he got on people's fantasy radar. Again, everything I said about Reuben Randall is true here. Eli Manning's probably throwing for 300 yards, and I could see Larry Donnell getting a sizable portion of that. And I would even say it's more probable than not, to use a phrase that has scoured the NFL for months now, that Larry Donnell scores a touchdown this week.
Deflategate? Larry Donnell, I actually like the pick. I mean, he really seems like he has Dallas's number decently well. I thought it was Dallas who he had that 3-touchdown game against last year, but it was an NFC East rival, the Redskins.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, though, he did have a 7-catch, 90-yard game against Dallas.
Yeah, absolutely. And Donnell showed that he's absolutely got some talent. So keep him on your watch this year, and especially if you're going to go weak at tight end, I like Donnell as a flyer in FanDuel as well. So good pick there.
So, Jeremy, we'll see if I think you have a good pick at tight end. Who's going to be your tight end this week?
I think you will, considering you picked his quarterback. This is what I was talking about earlier. I think Delaney Walker is the one who benefits the most this week from Mariota. He led the league in targets, receptions, and yards last year, which is pathetic because I think he had 800 yards. Pathetic for the wide receivers. My apologies. Delaney will be good again. So I think he gets a lot of dump-offs, especially in a PPR league, which FanDuel is half point typically. I like Delaney Walker here to get hopefully around 15 points this week.
Well, like you said, I'm expecting Mariota to have a good game, so it'd be kind of hard for me to not like his top weapon. So I actually own Delaney Walker in my season-long league. I think, like you said, he's a boring player, but he gets the job done on a week-to-week basis. He's never going to score 20 points, but he's also probably not going to put up any 5-point clunkers either. So
tight ends are so thin this year. You're exactly right. Tight ends are so thin. I mean, he's a great season-long stash, which I'd love to trade for him, by the way.
Well, maybe we can talk about that off air.
No, the fans really want to hear it. So that kind of summarizes our picks for the week. Again, this is something we do on a weekly basis, and we'll be back next week, and we'll talk about our previous week, and then make our new picks and kind of adjust from there. One thing that really benefits us as the season goes on is we really focus on strengths, like as far as specifically, for example, the Bears are going to have a bad pass defense, right? But they're run defense is probably going to be somewhat decent. So we really start breaking that down as the season goes on. And in my opinion, I felt like we got much more accurate as the season progressed. But you have to let me know what you think about that, Trent.
Yeah, it's funny. If you look back at our results from the beginning of last year, about like the first 4 weeks, every week one of us would have a huge week and the other one would have a terrible week because we were kind of figuring this out as we went. But then, like you said, by the end of the year, every week you and I were both putting up big results because we kind of figured out what we were doing. And so, and really that's going to be the situation here. A lot of our picks early on are going to be based on what happened last year, but as the season wears on, the same teams aren't going to be this bad at the same things, and the same teams aren't going to be good at the same things as they were last year. So as that situation gains more clarity this year, Jeremy and I will be reacting to that.
And you know, Trent, I just had a great idea. What we're going to do, if you're going to be up for this, I say we bet $100 between you and I. We do all our picks. We add them up at the end of the season. Whoever has the most points from our picks gets $100. What do you think?
Well, let me ask you this, though, because honestly, total points aren't what really matter. Wins and losses are what matter. So how about we do best week-to-week record versus each other, head-to-head?
Good point. I like that better, actually. That'll be more like what they do on the NFL talk shows. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do head-to-head for $100.
And now, before we wrap up the show this week, one of the things we want to point out is the fact that since we do go out on a limb, we kind of fall off the tree from time to time. And one of the guys I highlighted in our Breakout Players show 2 weeks ago, Reggie Wayne, I said I thought he could have a 1,000-yard season this year. Our old friend Seth McCarley kind of made fun of me on Facebook for that. And, well, Seth, you were right, because Reggie Wayne is no longer even on the Patriots team, and in fact is probably retired at this point. So all that to say, we're not going to get every pick right, but that's kind of what happens when you swing for the fences every time like we do.
So you're telling me Reggie Wayne will not be getting 1,000 yards this season?
I'm saying that does not appear likely to happen.
Trent, I drafted him in the 7th round because you told me to. Now, Trent has a point. We do make some flops, and I'm pretty sure there was a stretch last year for our returning listeners where I didn't pick a tight end above 10 points for probably a month straight. Tight end is just very, very tough, especially when you're reaching as deep as we are.
All right, so I think that is going to be it for week 1, right?
I got nothing left. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Again, tell your friends about it. We're seeing our actual listeners on a week-to-week basis growing substantially, so we really appreciate you guys listening. Again, shout out to Aaron Bennett, AB, the rap artist.
AB, the MC.
See you next week.